Everybody knows somebody with some sort of an addiction.
Even working at your business 24 hours a day, as hard as you can, is an addiction.
It is.
And whether that's healthy to people or not,
Yeah.
it's an addiction.
Right. You could do everything you can until someone just sort of be like, hey, I'm ready to change. You know what I mean?
Right.
You could do, like, nothing's going to make you change unless you want to change. People fail a lot, and no one really cares if you fail. Like, sometimes, like, if you're in business, you don't be afraid to call everybody and ask questions or ask for their help. You know what I mean? At least I was the person that tried. Like, at least I made those phone calls.
Yeah.
I don't care if you're annoyed at 11 p.m. at night.
Yeah.
I'm going to call you.
Right.
You know?
Right.
Like, where do you get your leads from? You know what I mean? I'm gonna be that guy.
That's funny.
But
All right, guys. Welcome back to another episode of Shack in Progress. I have a good friend of mine, Ryan Oldham. Ryan, welcome.
hello.
You made it.
I know, dude.
We were supposed to do this 2 weeks ago.
I was so sick.
Yeah, what happened?
I was so sick.
What kind of sick was it?
I don't know. It was just one of those things where it was just like, all of a sudden, I was like, well, my son was sick.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, I remember you telling me that.
Yeah. And then I was like, well, I'm not going to get sick. You know what I mean?
What did you get?
I don't know. It's something like the flu. Like, it was just bad, dude.
Yeah.
It was so bad.
Was it the throwing up one or no?
Yeah, I threw up once, but it was like, I think I sent you a picture. It was like 103 or something.
That's right. Yeah, that's right. You had a bad fever.
I was like, dude.
That's dangerous.
I know.
Yeah.
I know. It's like you get like the fever dreams.
No.
Dude, it was,
What are fever dreams?
you never had a fever dream?
Maybe I don't know what it is, and I just never labeled it.
Bro, the fever dreams are crazy. Lots of fun. You wake up and you're just like, what? Did I just like, what happened? what drug did I take?
Hey, it's a harmless drug, I guess. Right?
Yeah, no, it's crazy. It's crazy. But yeah, dude,
You feeling all right?
much better.
Cool.
So much better.
Good. Well, you made it, and I know you live kind of far, so I appreciate you kind of driving
Of
out
course,
here.
Absolutely.
Ryan and I, previous to the business, we've worked together through call centers separately, right? And then we ended up starting a venture together with Telecon.
Yeah.
And then now we've kind of gone our separate ways, but we're in the same industry, but not at the same time.
Yeah.
But the biggest thing that I've gathered working and talking with Ryan is, one, you're a great conversationalist.
Thank you.
That's very hard to come by.
Appreciate that.
Yeah. Two, I was playing your video that you made for me with my wife. I was like, hey, you've never seen Ryan before. This is Ryan.
Yeah.
She's like, oh, he's very intellectual, huh? And I was like, yes. He is very intellectual. So you're very intellectual.
Thank you.
And I think, seeing a little bit of the last 6 months with you, 8 to 10 months, and what you've been through, you're like up there with the hardest workers, right? Because I know that doesn't come easy, right?
Yeah.
So before we come up to the last recent years I've met you in the call center and all this, this podcast is about entrepreneurs, creators, business owners, right? Intrapreneurs, which is where I think you kind of fall in right now.
For sure.
So I want to take us back to baby Ryan,
Okay.
and where did this intrapreneur, outside of the box thinker start?
Oh, that's a good question. Well, I hated school.
Oh, there you go. That's a commonality, but yeah.
I hated school. I was so bad at it. Like, I tell anyone that's wanting to listen, it's like, boy, I hated school. Like, I could not think in school.
Really?
So, I love sports,
Okay.
I love sports. I always wanted to be playing sports. And school was just not my thing.
What did you hate about school?
Everything, dude. I hated the smell.
Okay.
I hated, like, the cafeteria. I hated the teachers. I hated being told what to do. Like, I was just like, I'm not doing this. Like, I get a test in 4th grade and I just guess on all of it. I just guess on all of it. I turn it in and then they call me in after, you know what I mean? And like, they embarrass you, you know what I mean? They're like, Ryan, can you come up front? I'm like, I know what this is about, dude. Like, you got one question right.
What was your reaction?
I was just like, I know, like I hated it, dude. I just hated it. I couldn't focus. So I got really into golf.
Oh, golf has been in your life since childhood.
Yeah.
Okay, I didn't know that.
Yeah. I grew up on a golf course.
Lies.
No, seriously.
Oh, really?
Yeah, in Indiana. I grew up on a golf course, and it was two older brothers. Both my brothers, one played golf a little bit, the other one played golf a lot of it, right? Okay. And I was like, you know, as a younger kid, you look up to your brothers. And one of my brothers was like super, super into golf, and my dad was like super into golf. My dad played on the mini tours and tried to go pro. And so golf was just a big, big, big part of it's a big part of our lives. And I just got the opportunity that we lived on a golf course. You know,
How young are you talking? Like when you?
probably like 4 or 5.
That's pretty young.
Yeah. Yeah. My dad would like cut down golf clubs for me.
Wow.
He was the best, dude.
That's awesome.
Yeah, he was the best. He cut down golf clubs for me, and we'd go play golf. And like, I remember the first time when I was like in a golf simulator as a kid, I hit it 100 yards, and like it shows like like 100 up there. I was like,
Yeah.
Dude, I'm so good at this. I'm gonna do this forever.
Yeah.
And yeah, I just got really into it, and I played every single day. I did not want to be at school. I wanted to be on the golf course.
Okay.
Yeah.
That really does explain
Yeah.
a bit more about you. Okay.
Yeah.
So you go through school, you know, you don't like school. You still had to go through it,
Mm-hmm.
right? You're playing golf now that I see. So I guess there still isn't, I can see that you're kind of rebellious, right? You don't want to go against, or you want to go against the system. You don't
Yeah.
want to be controlled by anybody.
Right.
But where does this like business mentality come from?
Such a good question.
Or at least desire?
Yeah, it's such a good question. Honestly, a lot of it's my dad. Like seeing him, you know, be successful with, you know, a similar type of like mind as mine. I'm like, well, I could do that. You know what I mean? And I you know, like I think once with anything, like once you are successful at one thing in business, you're like, gosh, I feel so good. You know what I mean? You just
Right.
want to keep doing it and doing it and doing it. And then you just like, and then, you know, you get like, I get really into entrepreneurs, you know, like I find them very fascinating. Just like I found, you know, athletes as a kid, very fascinating. I was like, oh, like it's like Tiger Woods or whatever, right? It's like you look at them and you're like, oh my gosh, that guy's, I want to do everything that guy's doing.
Right.
And then when I realized, okay, well, I'm not going to be a professional golfer,
Yeah.
and I want to be in business, I started looking at entrepreneurs and like studying them,
I
and,
see.
and just like I want to do what they're doing.
Okay. So you went through school, you got through playing golf, and then you started wanting to mimic some of these people that
Yeah.
you saw, but mainly your father,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah.
What does your dad do?
He was in the car insurance business
Okay.
for a while, and he retired pretty young. And then he just like it's crazy. Like he's 60 something, and he just started another company, got like round 1 to funding. And I'm just like, oh my gosh, dude.
Wow.
Yeah. I'm just like, how do you do that, bro?
That's awesome.
Yeah, I know.
Yeah, that can be a big driving force for you.
But the biggest driving force of it is that he's like, he's very smart, but there's nothing special. You know what I mean?
What do you mean, actually?
Like he's not like like I think sometimes people think of like Elon Musk or like like Jeff Bezos or something like that. Like it's not that. It's just this guy that's like willing to do the hard work, like willing to ask or like seeing an opportunity, total opportunity, seeing an opportunity is like I think I could really, you know, take advantage of this,
Right.
and he does it. He does it so well.
Okay.
And like sometimes like from the outside, I'm like, all right, dude, it's not gonna work. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And then like 6 months later, he's like, yeah, I got round 1 funding. I'm like, oh my gosh, dude, like it's not that easy, bro.
So he's done this multiple times.
Yeah, I think this is his third try, second successful. Yeah,
That's cool.
yeah. He just goes for it. He just does it.
Okay.
Yeah,
So tell me a little bit about, I guess, growing up with a father like that, right?
yeah.
You have a brother, right?
2.
2 brothers. Okay. One is in business, I think you mentioned.
Yeah.
Okay. What does your other brother do?
He's a contractor.
Okay.
Yeah.
Got it. All right. So, bunch of boys.
None of them work for anybody.
Okay. So, and that's
Yeah.
been your feeling, right?
Yeah.
You don't like, I know we'll get into that a little bit later, but that's kind of your focus is to get to a point where you don't work for anyone or, trading or, there's many avenues that you want to get to, but ultimately it's not working for someone, right?
Right.
But before we get there, I guess hearing that your brothers are in the same boat, right? They don't want to work for anyone. What was childhood like with a dad, that was in business, that was maybe more cutthroat? Like, what was he like as a father?
He was, sometimes I don't know how he did it, but he coached our soccer games. He coached our. He would show up to every single sporting event that everyone had. He was always, even like we joke about it, like he got a ticket on the way to a swim meet because he was like, I'm not gonna be late.
Wow.
Yeah, and he was vice president of an insurance company, and he's like,
No way.
dude, it's insane. Yeah, it's like, dude, like, that's what I want to do. You know what I mean? It's like that's the type of life that I want to have.
So he didn't sacrifice one or the other somehow.
No, he didn't.
You hear so many stories
You
of
do.
like entrepreneurs, and they say, you know, you want to be this, you want to have this life,
Right.
but you don't want it because
Right.
you're going to have to sacrifice something.
Right.
So, but you grew up with someone that you truthfully from your heart can say he was there
Yeah. Yeah.
and he was successful
Yeah.
in the business.
I remember being sick as a kid. I will stay home with you. Yeah.
Dude,
It's just so cool, dude.
that's amazing.
He like took me to Star Wars and stuff when I was a kid. And like,
No way.
It's so cool.
Wow.
Yeah. I was super lucky. Like you don't know it at the time, and then you grow up,
Right.
and you have kids, and you like try to be successful, and you're just like, how did you do this? And so I'm so lucky. I get the opportunity to like, you know, if I go up, he lives up here.
Okay.
And if I get to talk to him, I'm like, how did you do it? Like, what was it? You know what I mean? Like, what? Like, I get the ability to pick his brain. He was just like, you know, I did the stuff that nobody else wanted to do.
Wow.
You know, like he started at Progressive, I think,
Okay.
as just like an entry level type of guy, you know, and just like most business people, stuck out, did more than the other person. I remember told me a story. It was like nobody wanted to like drive an hour to go and pick up something, but he's like, I'd do it because it was an extra $50. You know what I mean? He's
Yeah.
Like, and it's like, I'd do it. And so he did it, and like people that just stood out to people. And then someone was like, hey, I want you to help me run this company. He's like, okay, I'll do it. And the company blew up.
Yeah, that's a particular skill, you know, to say yes to things
Mm-hmm.
when people don't want to do those things.
Mm-hmm.
It's an actual skill. Like for
totally.
instance, like there was a trailer that needed washed here.
Yeah.
So they had me like call people. No one could do it last minute. I went and washed the trailer.
You have that skill. You have that innate skill. Like there was another thing that you sold the other day.
Oh yeah, it was their machine. They
Yeah,
needed to
you're
sell
like,
it,
that's
and it's
just
like-
you. That's just who you are too. You're just like, I'll do that, and you
Yeah.
do it.
Yeah,
and so
yeah.
I'm just like, dude, how did he do that, bro?
You know, sometimes I don't even know myself, but
Yeah.
it there and you have that too, right? It's like there's this momentum within entrepreneurs, and there's like this. If something's not getting done, I'm like anxious. Like I should just get this done now.
Yeah.
Right. So your dad, you grew up around not only a great entrepreneur, but a great father,
Yeah,
which is really hard to come by.
so hard. Yeah.
Right. So what was life like? You know, I guess now I was waiting to hear like, oh, you know, he wasn't home much and I
yeah,
did this, but he was
right,
home and he had two other brothers.
Right.
Do your two other brothers feel the same way as far as
Yeah.
relationship with him?
Yeah. Yeah.
That's amazing.
Yeah. He crushed it. He crushed it, dude.
Wow.
Yeah.
I'm shook.
I know. He crushed
Usually
it.
there's like this big business guy lacking family.
I mean, he definitely has that swagger of like but there's no sort of like he drove a truck,
Okay.
like just a beat down truck.
Right.
And his wife drives like his Audi A7
Okay.
because he just likes the truck. You know what I
Right.
mean? Like there's no designer clothes or anything like that.
It's not about the money for him.
Not really. Not really. I think everything's just kind of like an investment. Like his home was an investment. Like everything's like, how is this going to pay for me in the future? You know
Wow.
what I mean? And he's got a great story too. He's got a great story.
Yeah, you're sharing a little bit through it, which is
Yeah.
great.
Yeah.
I love that. But now it kind of helps me see how you were formed and shaped, right? You know, John Maxey was just here, and we were talking about like filters
Yeah.
of like how people grew up, right? And
Yeah.
and how their parents show them the world.
Yeah.
And it's very cool to hear that your dad gave you a filter
Yeah.
of the possibility to be
For sure.
business and also have a successful family life.
For sure. Yeah.
Right, when it's unfortunate that a lot of families that had a very successful father, the father gave up their family life to have all that they need when they get older.
Which isn't bad.
Yeah, it's
You know
still
what I
a
mean?
good meaning.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. It's like you still did.
Can't be mad at that.
Right. You can't be mad at that. But if you did both, it's like,
Yeah.
it's special.
Okay.
Yeah.
So you had a great childhood through that, right?
I did.
And you know you're getting older in your teens or whatever, and you're
Mm-hmm.
kind of figuring yourself out. And I know now, like you probably know what you want more now
Mm-hmm.
than maybe then. But you know what at the time when you're in your teens, you know what was the struggle? What were you wanting to be? Where were you trying to go?
Professional golfer.
Oh, really?
Oh yeah.
Like all the way.
I was good.
Okay.
No, I mean, I didn't even brag or anything. But
I
was,
didn't know
it was
this.
pretty good. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
And
no.
what's good, like in golfing terms? Because I don't know what that is.
As a junior, I won. I mean, if I played in 10 tournaments, I'd win 8. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
So what happened?
We moved out here because my dad retired, and another part was like you could play golf year round out here, And I was from Indiana, right?
Right.
So it snowed, I don't know, maybe 4 or 5 months out of the year, type of thing, So we got out here and we were able to play golf year round, and the competition kind of just was like a little bit different. I wasn't winning everything, and like to my ego, I was like, just like kind of like, childish type of ego. It's like, if I'm not winning, then why am I playing? You know what I mean? And like, I saw some kids that were like, come from like Korea or something, and shoot like super low, just like crazy. Like I'd be playing well, and I'd come in and like, oh yeah, you finished 18th. I'm like, what? 18th, bro? I played so well. And like the kid would like break the course record, and he's like 15 years old. And I think and I remember like now, if I had the mind now, I'd be like, stick to it. Like you're gonna be good.
Right.
You know what I mean? Like stick to it. Like,
Right.
like just keep going. Like you're gonna end up being really good. You're gonna, even if you're not like really good, like you're gonna make it somewhere in that world. But I think I just got real, just like defeated, and I was like, this is not for me.
Wow, that's honest
Yeah.
to know that you felt that way, and that you're like 15-year-old comes in and crushes it.
Oh, he was so good.
And how old were you when he was crushing it?
About the same age.
Okay.
Yeah, about the same age.
Okay, so it was like same age competition.
Yeah.
And it was your eyes were kind of opening, like, okay,
Yeah.
I'm good,
Yeah.
but maybe not that good.
Yeah. I was also really small. Believe it or not.
That's hard to believe.
I was small, dude. I was a really small kid.
Okay.
Yeah. I didn't hit it far like you're supposed to hit it far,
Right.
And I didn't really hit it far. I was hit straight, and like these kids would they would tower over me, and like they're like 16 or whatever, and I'm the same man. I'm just like a small little kid,
Right.
and they're just killing it. And I'm
Really?
like, dude, I can't compete with this.
Were your brothers in the same world, or was it just you that took off with the golf?
Chris, he was, yeah, he was similar world. He good player, just never really had like the it, but he plays golf. He's playing golf right now, actually. He invited me to play golf today.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
That's
He
awesome.
loves golf,
Okay, yeah. So golf is in the blood.
big time.
Okay.
Big time. We love golf.
Yeah.
Yeah,
I know it's more of a mental game than anything else.
it is. It is,
And I hear that all the
and
time.
That taught me a lot.
Okay.
That taught me so much.
Okay.
Yeah.
So now you're 15, 17, right? 18 going into your young adult
Mm-hmm.
life, right? Tell me about, what were you doing then before you got to your 20s or right in your early 20s?
Oh boy. Well, I made a lot of mistakes. I made mistakes as a kid. I think when you have something, like when you're focused on something so much, you're focused, like you're just like school. Again, school was not the strong suit, right?
Right.
So I was like, I'm gonna be a golfer. Like that's it. That's all I'm gonna be. Like that's what I'm good at. Like I'm just gonna continue to be a golfer. And then when you fail, you're like, now what am I gonna do? You know what I mean? Like I didn't study too much. Like am I just gonna work at a golf course my entire life? So I got real like what am I gonna do, dude? And so I started hanging out with the wrong people. Like just started, doing the wrong things with them, and like just like, well, I didn't really have a fallback, so I'll just do this. Like I'll find whatever peace and comfort in this. You know what I mean? So yeah, golf was it, and then once it wasn't it, it was just like kind of the rails kind of fell off.
Okay. So I know there's a gap between early 20s to when I met you.
Yeah.
Right. And just kind of when I met you, call center world,
Yeah.
Crushing it, working for Luke, doing your thing.
Yeah.
We still kind of work in call center world separately.
Yeah.
But prior to that, you had mentioned that not shortly long getting with Luke, you were just living out of the dumpster or
Yeah.
living next to a dumpster
Yeah.
and, just on the street.
Yeah.
So I hear this young, hardworking, teenager in golf, right? Face some cold reality that, you know, he may not be that guy yet. You face some of those feelings. Walk me through, because that in itself, coming from working or living next to a dumpster, not having anything, to growing a sales org and a call center to those heights, you know, take me back to that point before the dumpster and how you got there.
Yeah, it was just a series of bad decisions. It's like, you know, you are who you hang out with. It's almost as simple as that. It's like, it's who you hang out with is who you are. And I hung out with just not good people. You know what I mean? And you just start to like I said, you just start to find like some sort of just like, oh, well, I think this is just who I am. You know what I mean? Until it gets really bad. But yeah, I mean,
take me to that first bad decision.
Oh, dude,
because,
first bad decision.
We don't have to go through all of them, but because the thing is that, you know, right now I know you're working towards where you want to be, right?
Yeah.
And the point of the podcast is there are going to be people who are like really who've made it who'll join the podcast.
Yeah.
But the majority, I want people who are working towards where they want to be.
Yeah.
Because even the smallest wins while going towards where you want to be is huge, right?
Yeah.
And someone's going to listen to this and they're going to hear your story. Like, freaking Ryan went from a dumpster to growing one of the biggest sales orgs in Arizona.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
I know you didn't get paid enough for that.
It was good from going from a dumpster.
That's right. Correct. Yes. I know we've talked about it. See, that's great.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
You know, going from that to not
I just talked about it
about
today with it. I was just like, dude, that was one of the best experiences of my life.
Really?
Oh, yeah.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
So take me to that very first slight bad decision that felt like you were like turning into another world.
I don't know. I think it was just like, you make the decision before you make the decision. Okay. So like in your head, you're like, you're already there. You know what I mean? Like in your head,
you're just waiting for that opportunity.
Pretty much. Up. Yeah. Like in your head, you're just like, you've already made that decision. I don't think it's like, hey, I'm having a good day. Try this. You know what I mean? I think it's like, gosh, dude, this is not as good. Whatever you're going through. Right. And then, you know, and then you start to hang out with somebody and then they offer you something and you're like, wow, that feels pretty good.
Right.
That feels like winning at golf.
Right.
That's I get that dopamine rush. Like that's a good feeling.
Right.
I'd like to do that again.
Yeah.
And so you just kind of stay in that. And then it's like after a while, it's just such a nasty world that you just stay in it. But yeah, I don't think like there's a good saying, like it's like you make the decision before you make the decision.
Yeah, I can see that.
Yeah.
It makes sense.
Like it's a really good way of putting it is it's not like the drugs or alcohol or whatever is not the problem. It's the solution to your problem.
Right.
You know what I mean?
Right.
Like your problem's up here.
Yeah.
The problems aren't the drugs. Like those helped you.
Right.
Right. Fix whatever was going on up there.
Yeah.
So something was just kind of going on up there that had no sort of whatever, you know, just kind of just like no sort of purpose, dude. It's just like whatever, you know. I look back at it now and I'm like I was just telling somebody the other day, yesterday in Walmart, I had a homeless guy come up to me and he goes, You got any change? I was like, yeah, totally. And you know he's gonna go buy alcohol. He's like, oh, my family needs fed. And I was like, no, dude, you're so full of shit. I know you're lying, but for real, yeah, I didn't have cash, but I gave him all my change. And he goes, what do you do for a living? Because I have a decent car. You know what I mean? Like it's kind of shiny, whatever.
Yeah.
And I was like, man, like I don't know, 4 or 5 years ago, I was right there.
That's amazing.
It was just a full circle moment. It was so cool.
That's good for you, man.
Yeah, so and I got to talk to him a little bit. You know, it wasn't like I was like, you need to turn your life around, but it was just got to kind of talk to him a little bit and like pick his brain. It was just like he's just a normal person,
right?
You know what I mean? That just made a lot of bad decisions,
right?
And I could have easily been there.
Yeah,
you know what I mean? And a lot of us could just easily be there. Like it's not like like sometimes you drive past people and like, God, that guy sucks. You know what I mean? Go get a job or something like that.
Yeah.
But and then you start to think like, man, who like you could be there. You know what I mean? Like anyone could be there.
Yeah.
The matter of the fact is that everybody knows somebody with some sort of an addiction.
Right.
You know what I mean?
Right.
And it's like whether it's you or whether it's like you have a son or a spouse or something, and they're like, gosh, it's just ruining everybody. It's what it does.
Yeah, and the fact is that even working at your business 24 hours a day, as hard as you can, is an addiction.
It is.
And whether that's healthy to people or not,
Yeah.
it's an addiction.
Right. Right.
You know, you having that full circle moment, it means like, you're on the way, right? But I want to zoom into literally going from that dumpster. You know what I mean?
I'll tell you the dumpster.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah. Which dumpster was it?
It is off of the 202 and Scottsdale Road by Quick Trip and Motel 6.
Holy crap, man.
Yeah.
That's insane.
Yeah, I think I owe the guys at Quick Trip an apology. I can tell you that.
Oh, yeah?
Oh, for sure.
That's funny.
Like, not oftentimes I'll be like, oh, I should say sorry. I should go say sorry to those guys. Like, if they still work there.
Yeah, well, you were in survival mode.
Yeah.
And you're doing what you can do with
Yeah.
the state that you're in.
Sure. Yeah.
So, John had the same past, and I know other people will be joining here and may not have a past of being addicted to drugs, but in that there's always a downfall in an entrepreneur's life, right? And then there's the curve where it starts to turn. Right. I'm very curious, putting myself in that situation. It's cold, or maybe it's extremely hot, and and you're waking up again to not having anything, and you're on day whatever. What in your head switched to saying enough?
I think there's a lot of things. Like, there's a lot of things that I kind of remember, but one of the ones was that the girl that I was seeing at the time got pregnant, and I was like, okay,
gotcha.
I got to do something.
Right.
Yeah. And so it was immediately, as soon as I heard that, I was like, okay, detox, let's do this.
At the end of the day, that in itself shows your heart, like who you are.
Yeah. No, and that's it. Like that's a big time. Like, people are like, how did you get sober? Because it wasn't AA. It wasn't like, it was just like, that was just not me. You know what I mean? Like, it just was not, like, I just didn't, like, it just was not me. I just was not who I am as a person. You know what I mean? So I think I was super lucky in that fact. And the other thing is too, is like, in that life, all I wanted was a family. I was just like, I'd see like people walking down the street or something, and I was so naive. I was so stupid. Like, I was like, I don't even know how people afford cars. Like, you must be lucky. You know what I mean?
Right.
But I'd be like walking down the street and I'd see a family, and it's like, man, if I could just get that one day, bro, that'd be so cool. And then I found out that she was pregnant. I was like, well, here's my chance.
Right.
And then fast forward.
Okay, so that what I'm gathering from this is, you said in the beginning, the decision to kind of fall into that world was prior to that decision, right?
Yeah.
And you said a word, purpose.
Yeah.
Right. So golfing was your purpose. Like, that was what you were breathing, eating, and sleeping.
Maybe more like an identity. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. And when that shattered,
Yeah.
you fell back to finding who you really were and didn't know what that was.
Pretty much. Yeah.
So without the purpose, I just find it amazing. Like, once you heard that, she was pregnant and there's a son there, automatically there was purpose.
Yeah.
Right. And things changed.
Yeah.
Right. And not a lot of people understand. I don't know what it's like to do hard drugs. Right. But I've been addicted to things, and it's the sense of like being lost.
It's the same feeling.
Yeah. And you're looking for something.
Yeah. It's the same feeling. It's all relative.
Right.
You know what I mean? It could be whatever. It could be the hard drugs. It could be something small, but that same like empty feeling.
Right.
You're just like, gosh, dude, I have to surrender this every day.
Yeah.
Same thing.
So when you found out you were having Reed, what happened? Like, I want to take me to the days when that happened. It's like, okay, now I'm like, holy crap.
Oh, dude, I don't even think I remember. So
I mean, it's an achievement. A dumpster to building a huge call center for somebody. Like,
yeah, there's a joke about my brother says, like, you turning around faster than anyone I know, and I think it was just like I just and it goes back to my dad. It just goes like, man, I want to give him what my dad gave me. And I was just like so hell bent on it. And and like that feeling of like digging yourself out of the hole is a really good feeling. You know what I mean? Because you just start to see the progression, and it's not overnight.
Right.
It's just like, okay, now I got a pair of shoes. Okay, now I got some T-shirts.
Well, you had a cell phone, right?
No.
No,
I sold it.
no.
I sold it for, yeah.
So you were, instead of starting with nothing and then a cell phone, because that's a better off than most.
Yeah.
You started off with nothing.
I remember when I walked into the doors, I had a guy pay for my like deposit in first week. And I had a pair of shoes I stole from Goodwill that was half a size too small, and I'm walking everywhere, so like my feet are all bloody. And then a couple T-shirts that just smelled so bad. And I had a backpack, and that was it.
Wow.
That was it. And then I was like, okay, they're like, you gotta go find a job, and they're harsh. Like they're not like, oh, just sleep it off. You know what I mean? They're like, you get your shit together.
Right.
You know, like rent's due next week, and if it's not paid, you're gone. So, and I was like, okay, well, I'm not screwing around anymore. So I I went and started knocking on businesses to see if I could just get a job anywhere.
Wow.
And there was this car shop. It was like an auto body shop. He just bought this auto body shop. And I went in there and like I spoke to the owner. And the guy was like, he's like, do you have any experience? I was like, yeah, I worked at Discount Tire. I never worked at Discount Tire.
Oh my gosh.
But I think he knew that though. Like I was just just not looking the best.
Right.
And he goes, you know what you could do? You could clean out my shop. I was like, okay, I'll do that. And just not feeling good, you know. And I'd walk to that spot and I'd clean out the shop. I did a really good job. Like they were like all like super pumped with like what I did. And I felt pretty good about it. And he paid me cash. And like I remember I was like, I want to work here. You know what I mean? I want to do this. And he gives me a job to do, and it was driving a truck that was stick. And I was just in the mode, which is like, yeah, I could do it. You know what I mean? That's just kind of how I am. And I couldn't drive it.
Oh no.
And he's just like, yeah, dude, this is not going to be the job for you.
Oh,
if you don't know how to drive stick, it's not the job for you.
Dang.
Which I know how to drive stick. I've driven one truck that was stick, but like, I guess they're not all the same.
Yeah. Some are different. Yeah.
Right.
Especially
right.
trucks.
Right. So, but a good story behind that is that there was a golf course, and this is a big deal to me. There was a golf course right down the street called Alta Mesa, and I had an interview, and I was working at that auto body shop, and I was all sweaty or whatever. But I borrowed clothes from the same guy I paid the rent. This guy's awesome. He's out. I don't know what he's doing now, but. I borrowed clothes from him. I still have the shirt. Every time I see that shirt, I don't wear it, but every time I see that shirt, I just remember what happened. I left on lunch break. I went to a Subway across the street, changed out of my dirty clothes, put on like khakis, with this button-up polo shirt, and I didn't have a phone. So I was like, where the heck is Alta Mesa, bro? Like I would start running. I know it's a big neighborhood. You know what I mean? It's like a big neighborhood.
Right.
It's like something Vista. I was just like, and I started knocking on the door too, because I'm just desperate. And I go, do you know where the golf course is? And I'm sweating bullets, dude. And I went there, and luckily golf courses are pretty cool. Like you think that they're all kind of snooty, but like the cart guys are just dudes. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And he was like, and I got the interview, and next day he's like, you know, you can't really start until like couple weeks. I was like, I need to start like tomorrow. Is there anything I can do? He calls me back, and I start the next day. And the members there were pretty wealthy, and they would like pull up in their Porsches and their.
It's like a movie, man.
And they pull up in these nice cars, and I got and I would clean their clubs, and I'd ask them, "What do you do for a living?" You know, like what do you?
Wow.
And they would just. Not often did they talk about what they did for a living, but they often talked about how they did it. You know what I mean? And I picked their brain often. Just so, like some guy was like so rich and he like sold cell phones. Because like it's not selling cell phones. It's like how I networked and did all this. So I still have a couple good friends from there. One's a lawyer. A lot of Mormons there, and they're really great people. You know, just have like a lot of class. And I just picked their brain. It was great.
So, okay. Wow. First off, crazy.
Mm-hmm.
No cell phone. You're running.
Mm-hmm.
Knocking on people's doors.
Mm-hmm.
You can feel this sense of desperation to kind of change your life.
Mm-hmm.
You weren't looking for handouts.
Mm-mm.
You know, I think what comes to mind just immediately is, you know, you had your family.
Yeah.
Right. And, you know, pardon if I'm crossing too much, but, you know, why not go there? Or maybe you did, or what was that kind of scenario look like?
It wasn't available.
Got it.
Yeah, it was just like you've burned. You've just Like he's like, avoid. We love you, but
Wow.
when you come around, it's not pretty.
Wow.
I mean, it's not like I was destructive. It was
Right,
I was
right.
like one of those guys, just like it was just like
Because it wasn't towards them. There was no
right,
pain or animosity towards
right,
that.
right. And it was just like, and like just same with me. I mean, if I saw someone that I loved dearly, I'd be like, man, I don't want to see you like that, bro.
Yeah.
I love you to death. Call me when you want help. You know what I mean?
Right.
So, and like my parents did everything they could, and but you could do everything you can
Right.
until someone just sort of be like, hey, I'm ready to change. You know what I mean?
Right.
You could do, like, nothing's going to make you change unless you want to change.
Wow.
Absolutely nothing. So yeah, but that golf course, I tell stories about the golf course all the time. It was the best thing that's ever happened to me.
Yeah, it's the first time I've heard this,
Yeah.
which is amazing. So you get there. So I'm trying to bridge the gap now. You got this job. Are you still working at the tire shop or not anymore?
No.
Okay, so you're
Yeah.
full time at the golf course. You clean clubs. I suppose there's someone that you meet.
Yeah, well, it's funny. I met, this is great. I met a 14-year-old kid. Okay. And people are like, this is weird, dude. Why is this guy? Because I got free golf. I get to play free golf.
Okay.
And this 14-year-old kid would show up, and he was like, he's such a brat. Such a brat. I love him to death. And he was just like, Ryan, you want to go play golf? I was like, sure. So we started playing golf, and I had no friends. And like people would ask me, like, why are you playing golf all the time with this 14-year-old kid? And I didn't want to tell him because, like, you should see my friends. You know what I mean? You should see my actual friends.
Yeah.
Like this person's perfect for me right now. so that's what I did. And there's like such an innocence, and he was like, he's really good, really, really good. And I got the opportunity to play with him, and his family was Mormon, and such a beautiful family, and lots of really cool friends, and I just played golf with him all the time. All the time. It was just a 14-year-old kid. His name was Jack.
So you work, and then you start playing golf.
Yeah.
And you hang out.
Yeah, it's funny, dude. And then so I started, and I'm decent. Like I got talent still, and I'd be playing with like clubs from the Lost and Found, and one of the members was like, I'm gonna buy you a set. I was like, no, don't do that. I'm not gonna play. He's like, no, I'm gonna buy you a set. So he comes in the next day with like a set that's like worth maybe $1,200. Yeah.
He just gives it to you?
Just gives it to me.
Wow.
Yeah, it was so cool. Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah.
So by that time, you've been there a few months, maybe. You have a place already.
No, I was in sober living.
Oh, you're sober living. Yeah. Okay, so you're hustling from sober living all the way there.
Yeah.
To work.
Walking.
And then you're playing golf still. So you're like you're headstrong. You're focused. You got the job.
Yeah.
You got a baby on the way.
Yeah.
Nothing's gonna stop you from getting on your feet.
I felt good.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You started feeling that come up.
Right. It's that momentum. It's like, gosh, this feels good. I want to do this.
Yeah.
Start dressing different, walking different, talking different, new friends, like, and the ability to like talk to these people and go and like have dinner with them and stuff. It's like, gosh, there's like, I've been living in a world that's like this. And then you meet these people and there's like this whole other world out there.
Wow.
That you just get to like experience. Like, wow, that's right. Like there's a world out there. There's places you can go. There's people you can talk to. Like there's different ways to do things. Like it's so cool.
And you kept that momentum going.
I did.
That's big.
Yeah.
And it's not easy.
No, it's not.
It's not easy. There's multiple decisions that come your way and some aren't good.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
And you were just focused, headstrong.
Yeah.
So you're at this golf course, and I'm trying to build us to the call center.
Yeah.
Because you obviously have never managed a call center.
Right.
Never ran. Right. Never made calls. You know what I mean? And I don't want to label you as the call center guy, but
that's my label. That's what people just know. Like, oh, that dude ran a good call center.
Yeah. But in reality, you were able to create something from nothing.
Yeah.
With the ability of not having the biggest background in it.
Right.
That's the key.
Yeah.
You didn't have much background, but you figured it out.
Yeah.
You made it work.
That's the best part.
Exactly. So now you're working here, you're doing well, bridge the gap here to Fusion and managing that call center.
Yeah. So, it's kind of a strange story, but we wanted to get out. We wanted to start a life somewhere else, like let's go to New York or something. And because her parents live in New York, and right when that happened, when she's like, let's go, she had the baby, and I stopped working for a second. You know, I was like, okay, well,
You got a baby.
you know, yeah, I got a baby. Like, and I still lived in sober living. I was just like, what am I gonna do, bro? Like, I'm gonna take away from this for a second. And I called a good buddy, Jason Gallagher, of Fusion Power, and I was like, hey, I need a job. Like,
So how was your buddy? How was Jason and you connected?
well, so I did work at his call center when,
Oh, okay.
and actually, Jason was my first sponsor.
Oh wow.
Yeah.
That's
He was my
huge.
first sponsor, and he was funny. He's just such a good guy, dude. Such a good guy. And I saw his come up, and I saw him go from, you know, zero to just build his life up. And that was just something that when people are doing that, you know, like you have no idea who you're touching or like who you're inspiring.
Right.
You know what I mean? Like it's not like every day I was like, dude, you're an inspiration.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? But like I'd see him and his family. I'd see like him at church.
Right.
I'd see him go from call center managers to COO of a big company.
Right.
And you're just like, gosh, dude, like
Actions speak louder
you were
than
in my
words.
sober living like 8
Yeah.
years ago or whatever.
Right.
Yeah.
That's crazy.
Yeah. And it was like, if he could, and then I have this thing which is like, if he can do it, I can do it. So, so I called him. Actually, no, I didn't call him. I called a guy named Will, and Will was like, oh, let me talk to Jason. Because Jason's kind of has like this like second dad thing to me. I didn't want to like, hey, can you give me a job? You know what I mean?
Yeah.
But yeah, so I got in, and I just had that headstrongness, and I was just like, I'm gonna be the best at this. I wasn't the best, but I was just like, I'm gonna be the best. You know what I mean? But one of the things is I took on a project. I took on actually managing Filipinos.
Oh, really?
Yeah, it failed, but I took it on. You know what I mean? When no one wanted to do it, it was like a dying thing, right?
I see.
And I was like, I'll do it.
Wow.
Yeah, I was like, I'll do it.
So baby's here.
Yeah,
You needed to, because you didn't have a job anymore.
right.
Right. So because you're focusing on the kid. You get this job and you're managing call center or overseas reps.
Yeah,
And that's really when you started learning this world. Well, you started making calls, you said,
yeah. I was making calls. I hated it. I hated it.
as all of us.
Everyone does, dude.
Yeah.
And I think that's a big part of being a manager too, is
Right.
knowing what those guys are going through.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? But yeah, I hated it. So, and then someone was just like, oh yeah, and like, it worked. Like it was like a live transfer. You know, it was a live transfer from the Philippines to our call center, and it worked for like a month apparently. And like some guy got like 8 deals off of it. And I was like, well, if it like, it doesn't just come to a halt. You know what I
Right.
mean? Like it worked once. Like what's the
Right.
deal? So I just said, hey, I'll do it. No pay raise or anything. You know, I think I'm just trying to be like my dad. You know
Yes,
what I mean?
he just came
Yeah.
to my mind, literally.
Yeah.
No one else wants to do it. I'll do it.
I'll do it. Right. And then the same guy, Jason, because Luke was at Fusion, and Jason goes, hey, then I left. I went to a different company for a bit where I met you.
You met me at a different company?
Yeah. Remember? Something
Oh, yeah. Sorry. Yeah, now I remember.
Yeah.
We met each other at many different points.
Yeah,
so.
I know. And I met you there, but I went over there because I wanted to just be a manager or whatever.
Right.
I mean, it wasn't even like more pay. Like I was still like sleeping at someone else's house.
Right.
You know what I mean? And which is very nice of them. But just kind of just being that person, I was just like, I'll do it. And it worked out. And in that, I realized that like people fail a lot, and no one really cares if you fail. You know what I mean? Like no one's like really like that upset. People are just like, hey, thank God, like someone's willing to try. And I learned that with the Philippine thing. I was like, no one was willing to try, but I was like, I'll try. I gave it my best, but I failed. You know what I mean? But it was like, I think Jason was just like, thank God someone was willing to just be like, hey, I'll do this. You know, like if I'm a boss and someone's like, hey, this part is really struggling, I'll do it. You know, and you're just like, yeah, I like that guy. You know,
I like that you said that. It's like, I guess maybe some people focus on the failing part too much.
Yeah.
And they're a little scared of it.
Yeah.
But when you put in that perspective, that really the test isn't to make something that thing successful. Was there anyone willing?
Right.
Is what stood out more than anything.
Yeah.
So that stood out
Yeah.
with you and Jason.
Especially in that world,
Right.
you know, because like no one's got a degree. You know what I mean? Like
Right.
we're all just a bunch of degenerates in a call center, you know. So it's not hard to stick out.
Right.
You know, it's not like we have degrees or anything like that. You
Right.
know, so it was just like who's the most ambitious, And that's kind of what sales is too.
Right.
You know, you look at people in sales, like no one's got a degree in sales.
Right.
You know what I mean?
Majority now.
No, right? It's like, oh, I graduated from Harvard. I sell solar.
Yeah.
Probably not.
Super rare.
Yeah, probably not.
Yeah.
So, yeah, in that industry, it was just kind of like, it's like if you're charismatic, if you got if you want to take risks or whatever, like you might get lucky.
Yeah.
And so then I went to Sunlink, and over at Sunlink, I got a phone call from Jason, and he goes, "I want you to, I like the career that you're on." I'll never hit the phone call. I was at Sunlink, like I took it, and he's like, "I like the career path that you're on, this, that, and the third." And I was like, "Thanks." And he goes, "I want you to manage a call room for one of my reps." And everyone knew Luke, right? It's a big name. He's just like on the come up at that time. Excuse me. And I go, "Okay, cool. Like, what rep?" He goes, "Luke Ward." I was like, "Me?" I was like, "What?" Because that's at the other job, at the other company, it just wasn't. I didn't have like the horsepower. You know what I mean? It was just kind of like just chugging along. Not bad,
Right.
great experience. But yeah, when I took this, and I remember later on, I found out that I got another phone call from Jason. I found out that he secretly interviewed me. Luke was in the room.
Oh.
And Jason was like asking these questions, and I was just on top of it. You know what I mean? And Luke was like, "I want that guy,"
Wow.
which is cool.
That is really neat.
Yeah,
Those are the best.
those are the best. Yeah,
You know, because it's honest.
right. And I was just I was just like, and I was just curious about. I don't know why I was like all of a sudden like, I want to be good at call centers.
Right.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
But yeah, I was just like super curious about it. I was like, I wanted to like get into like Excel. I know, bro. Like I didn't even know how to turn a computer. Like you gotta.
That's hard to believe.
I'm serious, dude. Like I barely even knew how to navigate a computer.
Wow.
Yeah,
That's crazy.
I know.
So for anyone listening, Luke Ward was top sales rep in Arizona for how long? You know how many times?
Four
years in a row. He had a call center which Ryan managed and grew and built for the biggest year, which was how many deals in a month or in a year?
Oh gosh, it was like
Over 300 for sure.
Yeah, it was like 367.
Yes. Yeah. I was there for his party.
Yeah.
I just so happened to be in that meeting.
Yeah.
They had a cake and balloons and everything, which is crazy. Yeah. And I didn't know you were the one.
Yeah, I'm at the
managing
office.
That call center. Yeah. Well, which was crazy. So, for anyone listening, that's 367 solar deals is like insane. It's just a crazy number.
Yeah.
And Luke, if you ever listen to this, is a savage sales rep, sales manager, sales director, sales everything, right? But he's not a lead generator.
Right.
He doesn't generate leads. So he was trying to solve a problem, and Ryan, you barely even knew how to solve that problem, but you took on that challenge.
Yeah, it was the best thing ever.
Yeah.
He was, and like the way he is too, is just like he's like, here's my keys, and go figure it out. He's like, I don't have time to do this. You're gonna do this.
Right.
And I was like, okay, let's do it. And I remember the first week, dude. The first week, I think it was the first week. He calls me, and like it's like with the beginning of our relationship, and he calls me. He goes, I sent him on like 4 no-shows in a row, and I'm like, oh my gosh, dude.
Eek.
I'm fired. Like, this is it. Like, this is it, bro. I'm done. And he calls me, and he goes, if this is how it's going to be, I'm not going to do this. And I was like, oh, I better get my shit in gear.
Right.
ASAP, bro.
Yeah.
And I got lucky. I don't know how much I really changed, but then we just rattled off like a bunch of deals, and it was off to the races. And then and he was good, like he's grown into a fantastic human being and a fantastic sales leader. But at that time, he was just like, go figure it out. So we got desks from like ASU, like free desks, like cords were hanging everywhere. Like people
So this call center was nothing, right?
Nothing. Yeah.
So when he hired you on, it was just an idea.
There was a few desks in there.
Okay, a few desks. Yeah. But there wasn't a call center running in with like a bunch of...
There was a couple of people in there.
Okay.
Yeah.
And from the time of this dumpster to the time of you getting in these offices to build this call center, how much time was there?
Oh, boy. Less than a year.
Come on.
Yeah, less than a year.
That's insane.
I know.
That's really insane.
And and I was still trying to like figure myself out.
Right.
You know what I mean? And like, but I just buried myself in
Right.
work, and I loved it. I loved
Yeah.
every second. I was like, I'm gonna be early. I'm gonna stay late. Like, I'm just gonna grind harder than everybody else. Like,
Yeah.
I'm gonna be. I think this is it. This is my opportunity.
Yeah.
And it was like got so lucky. Like, it was just such a great opportunity.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
I love that.
Yeah.
The word intrapreneur comes to mind.
Yeah.
Right.
I remember this first thing. I think it was one of the first things you said to me.
Yeah.
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 You're like, hey, you're not an entrepreneur. You're an entrepreneur. I was like, that makes sense. Okay.
Yeah. For now.
Yeah.
For now.
Yeah.
Right. But because someone to give you that responsibility
Yeah.
and just to figure out is an entrepreneur.
Yeah.
Just within someone else's business.
For sure. Yeah.
You basically built a business within someone else's business.
Yeah.
Using their resources, obviously.
Yes.
And that in itself shows your entrepreneurial skills.
Yeah.
You know, and you building and being resourceful and finding all these different things, right?
Mm-hmm.
Where did you learn that skill? Was it from your dad growing up, or was it out of just necessity?
I think it's from sports. My dad. Yeah. I think it's just from like the I want to win. You know what I mean? And I think it was like also like, when am I going to get an opportunity like this again? You know,
Mm-hmm.
it wasn't even like that big of an opportunity. You know, like some people might look at it as like, are you kidding me?
Right.
But like for me, it was the world. You know,
Yeah.
for me, it was like, this is my shot. And yeah, I mean, the resourcefulness was just from, it was just like fun. Like, you know how it is. Like, it's fun when you're just like, how am I going to fix this?
Yeah.
And then somehow you fix it. You're just like, man, I don't know how that happened, but
Yeah.
that's so good that it happened.
It's so true.
Yeah.
It's
and,
true.
And like almost every day you're just like looking for that problem to fix. It's just fun.
It becomes a game.
It becomes a game. It
Yeah.
becomes a game. And then like when you, like Moneyball,
Yes.
you know what I mean?
Yes.
When all of a sudden that momentum hits and they start winning games.
Yes.
We start getting deals. Like we had a goal of like, we want 15 deals in 1 week. That's what we wanted, right? With like 8-person call center. And people were like, I remember like people in the office were like, that's fucking nuts, dude. Like, that's not going to happen. Like, you're insane. You know what I mean? And we did it with 15 deals in 1 week with 8 people in it.
That's crazy.
And I remember I told the girl, I was like, how many deals did we sell? She goes, 15. She goes, I never, ever expected that.
Wow.
And then I remember like we had like Google Sheets that like the CEOs of Fusion Power would look at. And all of a sudden you could see like their icon popping up on my spreadsheets.
They're taking a look.
Yeah, they're like,
what's going on over there?
Like, how is he doing this? That was the best feeling ever.
That's awesome,
Yeah.
man. I mean, especially coming from that dumpster in a year, less than a year. You know, it's more about working hard. Or it's not all about just working hard. It was the sheer drive and will you had.
Yeah.
Your son's on the way, and most people break. You know, but you managed to fight through all of that.
Yeah.
Yeah, maybe you didn't make $1 million. Maybe
Right.
you didn't get the mansion, all that stuff. But, you know, coming from a deficit when most people start from, you know, normalcy,
Yeah.
already have a job and they build their careers.
Yeah.
You came from a deficit. You didn't even have a cell phone.
Yeah.
You had to run to go knock on someone's door to find your interview.
Yeah.
That's the resourcefulness.
Yeah.
That's the drive of any entrepreneur.
Yeah. And to be honest with you, probably like when you ask me like, where did your resourcefulness come from? It came from being on the streets. You know what I mean?
Right,
It came
yeah.
from just being like, who's like sometimes like if you're in business, you don't be afraid to call everybody and ask questions or ask
Right.
for their help.
Right.
More often than not, they're going to help you.
True.
And like, even like, this is a terrible analogy, but like, even in like that world,
Right.
don't be afraid. It's like, call somebody, like they're going to answer. It's going to be a terrible conversation, but
Right.
they're going to answer. Like
Yeah.
they're resourceful. Right?
Right.
But I mean, that's how it is in business. Like just call, just like figure it out. And it was great. I saw someone else do it too. I had a buddy, Cody Timmerman.
Oh,
Remember
yeah.
Cody? Yeah.
Good old Cody.
I love Cody. He started a power washing business, and
Right.
like I was there watching and he just like asked a bunch of people's questions. Like he just would call people, like, "Hey, how did you do this? How did you do that? How did you do this?" And like just like to the point to where like they were super annoyed,
Right.
but he figured it out,
Yeah.
and he built a good little company,
Yeah.
you know. And I thought to myself, I was like, well, that's just kind of how you do it. Like
Right.
you're not gonna really know.
So tell me, in your perspective, why are there people, you know, that have that and the ones that don't?
I don't know. That's a great question.
Yeah.
Who have that ability to ask questions or to figure it out, or
Yeah, man. I
Yeah.
mean, it's an ongoing theme on this podcast. Whenever I ask a question, or talk to people who are in this world, it's
Yeah.
always like we just figure it out. Like you just
Yeah.
go and you do and you figure it out.
Because what's the alternative? You know what I mean? Like the alternative is like nothing.
Mm.
Like I'd rather look like an idiot trying to figure it out than not do it. You know what I mean?
I see.
Like I just, because who cares? Like at the end of the day,
Right.
like at least, like it goes back to like, at least I tried.
Mm.
You know what I mean? At least I was the person that tried. Like at least I made those phone calls.
Yeah.
I don't care if you're annoyed at 11 p.m. at night.
Yeah.
I'm gonna call you.
Right.
You know?
Right.
Like where do you get your leads from? You know what I mean? I'm gonna be that guy.
That's funny.
But at least like the alternative is like failing, or the alternative is just like kind of sitting there and just being like, I could have done more. Like I could have called that guy.
Right.
I could have asked more questions. I could have showed up earlier. Like I could have
So
done
that in that internal conversation, that innate feeling of doing what you're saying.
Mm-hmm.
You know, there's a room of 18 people you're making calls with, right? But
Mm-hmm.
you're the one that decided to take on that challenge.
Yeah.
You know, I know that everybody's not meant to own a business. Not everybody's meant to be an entrepreneur.
Yeah.
You know, we do need employees. We do need people, and that's very respectable. And people don't want to live the life that an entrepreneur has.
Yeah.
Right. But is
Sometimes
there?
I don't even want to live it.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
Right. And I think, you know, I'm answering the question in my head as I'm about to ask it to you. But, you know, the drive of an entrepreneur, there's multiple factors to it. And there's multiple reasons why people want to be an entrepreneur. So what's your factor? What's your reason to want to pursue being this entrepreneur or intrapreneur or wherever you're at?
It's just like the competitiveness. I think it kind of goes back to like, for me, like this is kind of sounds like my dad, a big part, right? But I like the founder of Uber. His name's Travis Kalanick. Okay, he's got a show on Netflix, and it's like a kind of a crappy portrayal, but it's a good show. And I like dove into this guy, dude. I was like, this guy, he grew Uber from like nothing, just with his bare hand, just like fighting and clawing and like beating everything that's in front of his way, just through scrappiness and just figuring it out. And I was like, man, that's cool. Like that's a cool person. Or like Moneyball, like just seeing people just like, I'm gonna figure this out somehow. You know what I mean? And like it comes through just being there and showing up and doing it.
Right.
You know what I mean? Like you're gonna get that break. Like in Moneyball, he found that kid.
Yeah.
By just trying to work out a trade or whatever.
Right.
And he's like, well, who are you?
Yeah.
You know what I mean? But that's because he was there. That's because he was in the weeds. Like he got to figure that stuff out.
Right.
And that's like,
Do you love that
Yeah.
more than
yeah.
actually maybe getting there?
Yeah.
You know, we've had this conversation.
Yeah.
When the call center you had was starting to be on auto mode, you know, cruise control.
I hated it, bro. And like that's all I wanted. You
Right.
know what I mean? And then when I was there, I was just like, what do I do, dude?
Right.
Yeah.
So talk to me a little bit about that. And we'll fast forward to kind of where we're at now.
Mm-hmm.
You know, you build this call center to start generating a lot of deals.
Mm-hmm.
You fix all these problems. Now it's coasting, and you start to. We've had the conversations while you were there. Like I'm starting to die inside. Like what's going on?
Well, first of all, I was young and a little bit stupid and didn't realize that like it wasn't coasting as well as it could be coasting.
Right.
You know what I mean? I could have done so much more. But in my head, it was where I thought it should be. And yeah, I just wanted more. I loved like we talk about this a lot. Like I love this, like the start of it. You know what I
right,
mean?
right.
I love like the scrappiness of like getting it started, you know,
Right.
hiring the people, getting the desk, like getting the computers, staying late, like calling Cox, like just like doing like all that stuff. You know what I mean?
Right.
And you know, making the phone calls or whatever. And then after, like when that stops, you're just kind of like, you're like looking for things to break just to fix, you know. But if I would have taken it back, I would for sure like, I'd look at it so differently. Like we could go so far. Yeah, we could go so much farther. But I had like, I kept on, you know, hitting my goals, my milestones, putting people in the places. I think one of the things that I'm really decent at, I'm not very good at a lot of things, not at all, but I'm pretty decent at putting the right people in the right spot. And that's about it. Like as a leader, I was like, well, I don't know how to do that,
Right.
but I'm going to find someone that does.
Yeah.
I'm going to put them there. And they're like, God, Ryan, you're so good. It's like, it's not me.
Right.
You know what I mean? It's them.
Yeah.
I just found the person that did it.
Yeah.
or like, because like retention, I'd have a retention department, and a kid that was really good at saving deals. And people were like, "Oh, what? How did you?" And I was like, "I just found a smart guy, you know,
Right.
and just kind of taught him what I knew." And then like 3 months later, he knew more than me, you know. It was just like I found the right person for the rest. I don't know how to do that,
Right.
you know. So,
Yeah.
so I don't think I'm really good at a lot of things, but I think finding the right people to do the right job is what I'm best at.
Yeah, and that in itself is a pinch point for a lot of business owners.
Mm-hmm.
You know, they become being a solopreneur,
Yeah.
aka me at
Yeah.
times. I
Oh,
get
for sure.
stuck
It's
where
100% you.
Yeah, and then you like I get stuck, right?
Yeah.
And there are a lot of guys, and there's caveats to all of that. Having a big company, having all these employees, and there's a lot of that. But there are a lot of guys that and people that are in business that have trouble being able to hire and then put them in the right places.
Yeah.
You know, so that's a skill that I need to learn,
Yeah.
and it sounds like maybe something that you've learned from
Yeah.
your dad and others,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah. And then you fail fast if they fail.
Yeah, that too.
Yeah.
Yeah, there's always that side of
Yeah.
things. If they don't do well, then you got to hire more,
Chances are they're not.
especially in the call center world.
Oh, for sure.
Yeah.
And then like sometimes they come in with the greatest interviews. Like they're like, "Oh, dude, I used to do this and do this," and then like halfway through the day, they're like, "I quit." You know. But the people that are like, "I've never done this before," crush it.
Yeah,
Yeah.
curious.
Yeah. Or just read the script. You know what I mean? Just
Right.
like I'm not the Wolf of Wall Street. Like
Right.
I'm here because I need a job,
Yeah.
and they just read the script and just follow what the guidelines say.
I remember going to your office, the second office or another office, I forgot where it was,
Uh-huh.
and I was passing over my reps to you,
Yeah.
right? I remember going to this office. It was not the biggest, not the smallest. You had your office in the back.
Yeah.
And it was just this square of reps calling. And you walk into that room. I don't know if anyone's listening who's ever been inside of a call center room, the boiler room.
Yeah.
But there's a certain sense of energy.
Yeah.
Right. People just calling, stepping out to take a smoke because
Yeah.
they just got beat up for the last hour.
Yeah.
Coming back in to make the calls.
Yeah.
Right. And that's where you're really vibing. That's where you're feeling like you're alive.
I love when it hums.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And you chase after that.
Yeah.
Right. And I think what I'm seeing is the hum can be many different things.
Yeah.
It doesn't have to be the call center.
Right.
Right now you're working on a course and automations and you want to get that to hum.
Mm-hmm.
Right.
Yeah. Yeah.
So I want to kind of dive into more of the recent years. So, you and I start talking a little bit more. We start Telecon.
Yeah.
Crazy how time flies.
I
A few
know.
months.
I feel like that was like yesterday.
I know, man. That was literally 6-7 months ago, which is insane. And we're hustling, and it wasn't. I was in a position where I needed to figure something out because I just got screwed over somewhere here, and our heads kind of like, oh gosh, like here's this opportunity.
Yeah.
You leave a real opportunity, well, one that you were kind of in, right? Wasn't the greatest,
Right.
so your back's up against the wall, and we kind of just figured things out,
Yeah.
right? And we had the time of our life. I'll never forget
It was fun.
coming to this office,
Yeah.
just figuring things
That
out,
was so fun.
right?
Yeah.
And fast forward, right? Like the company itself, it's still needing to grow, and it's still like call center worlds have changed, with FCC and TCPA rules coming
Yeah.
around, right? Things have changed quite a bit.
But you kept it alive.
As much, it's
It's pretty incredible.
yeah. We'll talk more after this
Yeah.
to tell you what's really going on. But we kind of part ways. You have to figure things out, and you've already been through quite a bit in the last few years.
Mm-hmm.
And more recently, you've gone through a lot more harder circumstances, right? So tell me a little bit about what's happened at that point, and how are things now?
To the transition.
Yeah.
Yeah. One of the things for me is as you know, I have a son that has a disability, right? And sometimes you have to make those choices of like, do I run a company where there's no sort of insurance? You know what I mean? Is it going to work out? Like, am I am I selfishly doing something because I can't support, you know what I mean?
Right.
So like those conversations come up quite a bit. I know if I was like a single guy, no kids or whatever, I'd be jumping from company. It'd be like starting every company I can, you know what I mean?
Right.
But no, that's unfortunate. Well, fortunately, that's
Right,
not
right,
the
right.
case. Right.
Yeah.
And, And so he's always like the first thought, right? It's
Right.
like, okay, what's going to most benefit him? So just you kind of start to take a look at your family, and you're like, okay, what's gonna be like best for us as a family,
Right.
And sometimes it's not starting companies, sometimes it's doing a little something here, doing a little something there, but like maybe it's right now the best thing is to work at Morgan Stanley, maybe
Right.
that's the best thing to do. As bad as that urge is to like build something, watch it go from a small office to a big office to a bigger office, like this one of the best feelings ever. Sometimes that's not what's best for your son or your family.
Wow.
So I had to make that decision, and right now I work back with Luke, and I think it's when I first started working with him again, I was like, hey, I'm just gonna do this for a couple months, like I'll help you
Yeah.
for a couple months, and I just got to see an unbelievable team. I got to see like people that were like so incredibly dedicated, such hard workers, come from nothing, travel across the state, leave their families to come work for this company. And they wake up at like 9 a.m., they work out, they read their Bible, they go knock doors for 8 hours, they come back, they go to bed, they do it again. And they're successful.
Wow.
Like, how can you not be successful
Right.
if you do that? And they do it every day, every single day. It's like they're warriors. And I was just like, I remember sometimes I'm just sitting there and just like, how can I not be a part of this?
Wow.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And it's so well structured, and it starts from the top, starts from Luke,
Right.
and everything else boils down. So he did a great job of creating an unbelievable environment, and just a bunch of hardworking kids, and people that lift each other up. Nobody's like, there's no negativity. Like if you look at the group chat, you're just like, gosh, dude, you think that these guys have been family for years.
That's awesome.
And so, yeah, it was just like, for a while, I'm not want to leave that,
Right.
So yeah, I'm blessed, and I have a really great opportunity because I'm like the guy that people go to for questions. I love being that guy. You know what I
Yeah,
mean?
that's so you.
I love being that guy. It's
Yeah.
like, I got the answer, or if I don't, I'm gonna try to figure it out. But I'm that guy. So Luke just was like, hey man, I don't have time to answer all these guys' questions. He's like, I'm selling 8 deals a week. Right? I don't have time to do this. And I was like, okay, well, I'll do that. I'll do all the operation stuff on the back end. I'll grow your course. I'll try and do all the operation stuff. Sometimes it's rough because it's not a world that I was in. I
Right.
was just in selling. I was just in setting the appointments.
Yeah.
And then to figure out like the whole industry on the back end and how like the operations flow and like the minute little details and like getting an SRP power clerk signed is like blow your head off, dude. It's so
Right.
hard to get signed.
Yeah.
But yeah, it's just a different world, and I enjoy it. I enjoy it. Just like everything else, I just kind of took it on and asked
I
questions.
was about to
And
say this is like Ryan and Luke's 2.0,
yeah,
right?
Yeah.
Instead of a call center, it's go high level. It's
yeah, but it's better because it's just like a great team. It's just like I'm so lucky. Like I tell people, like, do you want to go into the finance world? It's like I do, but then like I get someone's gonna tell me when to take a lunch, and like
yeah.
you gotta clock in, you
Yeah.
gotta clock out, and like all that, like HR and
Yep.
all these forms you have, and
Corporate.
corporate, or you could be part of this like really badass team that's
Yeah.
just like that just goes to church on, like, dude, it's just amazing.
That's
it's just,
awesome,
It's
man.
so cool, and it's like I want to be part of that team.
And what I love the most is obviously you started with Reed, right?
Yeah.
Like he's your focus.
Yeah,
And, from the time of us kind of parting ways to that, it was crazy.
Yeah.
Like you were hustling, trying to study also to get
Yeah.
your license. Like, you just got your car, like you're in a position where you got to figure things out.
Yeah.
You were stressed.
So stressed. Yeah.
You look great.
Thank you.
You look less stressed.
yeah,
You look more like at peace and calm.
Yeah.
Obviously, working with Luke this much now, you have a system of some sort. There's like, in the beginning, you didn't have a system. There wasn't anything. You
It
were
was
just
kind of the same
out.
thing. It was just like, hey, you're smart. Go figure it out.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
And you're back in the intrapreneur world.
Yeah.
You cleared it up. You don't want to go to the finance world because you're going to be in the corporate world.
Right. But you
Stuck.
do at the same time, though. Like, at the same time, you're like, it's a great point. I won't spend too much time on this, but like, if you go to the bar down the street, right, or whatever, you go to Scottsdale Quarter or Keyland, right, and you ask 60-year-olds, 10 60-year-olds, how did you get wealthy? 8 out of 10 of them are gonna be like, I worked at a company for 30 years and I worked my way up and I made a lot of money. You know what I mean?
It's true. Yeah.
Right. So
Yeah.
it's like there's a blueprint there.
Right.
Like that works.
100%.
It takes a while,
Yeah.
but they did that. Like that's like the boomer
Yes.
generation.
Correct.
But they did that and it worked, and like they're living a great life.
Yeah.
You know
they
what I
got
mean?
their 401ks. They've got
Yeah.
the savings. They got money.
Who
working
doesn't
for them.
want that?
Right.
You know, and like they did their time. They did like Morgan Stanley or whatever insurance company or whatever. But like, they're good.
Yeah.
They didn't do like the sexy start Tesla. You know what I mean? Like,
Yeah, that's more towards us,
Right.
2000, early 2000s
right.
type,
Yeah. Right.
internet boom.
Internet boom. Exactly.
Yeah.
But no, they didn't do that. And like, they're wealthy people.
Right.
You know. Like,
So what's your perspective then on someone successful? What is success outlined for you?
well, being a great dad, being a great father, family person for sure. That's like you know, you're gonna like that'll be a legacy. No one's gonna be like talking at your funeral and be like, oh, this guy made $20 million. You know what I mean? They're gonna
Wow,
be like,
that's
hey,
true.
this guy was a really good dad, or this guy was a really good family guy, right? Or this guy was nice and giving or whatever. So I think a measure of success is like how your kids are, like how your family is and
That's true.
how you talk to people and how you treat people, and like if you give unconditionally, if you love unconditionally, like that's a pretty successful person. Monetarily,
Everything, because I just, what is your definition of success?
I don't know, dude. I don't know. It used to be like billionaire,
Yeah, of course,
It used
yeah.
to be like, well, that guy.
Right.
But yeah, when you get older and you start to meet some like just really cool, people, just people that it's a great question, because do I look at a good dad and think to myself, that's a successful person? I don't. I think that's a good dad. But do I look at like someone that pulls up in a Porsche, a little bit older, nice clothes or whatever?
Yeah.
I go, that's a successful person. You know what I mean?
Right.
Like I'm not like that holier than thou, where it's like,
Right.
it's like I still look at those people and it's like, that's a successful person. Like
Right.
that person has, maybe their family life sucks. You know what I mean?
Right.
But I'm still like, I think maybe 99% of people are like, that's a successful person.
Is it conditioned to see that, or are we conditioned to see the guy in the Porsche?
for sure.
Right.
For sure. Yeah, totally. Like that's what all social media is about.
Right.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Not all of it, but
Yeah. Majority.
clout.
Clout.
Yeah.
All
Yeah.
the materialistic things.
The girls, the money, the yachts, and this and that. Yeah.
So, I asked you what your definition of success was to be a great dad.
Yeah.
That's the first thing.
Yeah.
Right. You've extremely achieved that, by the
I
way.
appreciate that. Thank you.
Great father.
Thank you.
And
Day isn't over.
yeah, right. For those that don't know, forgive me, Reed's condition.
Yeah.
If we can talk a little bit about that.
Yeah.
Don't have to talk much about it. But amongst everything you've been through, right, you also had to face this challenge.
Yeah.
And, tell us a little bit about Reed and where he's at now.
Well, I got an awesome son. His name's Reed. He's 3. And he was a miracle baby from the beginning, but he started like walking a little bit later. You know what I mean? Like he started like walking a little bit, and then like a week later he was crawling, and then like a week later he was army crawling. And we're like, I don't think that's normal,
Right.
So we took him to the doctor, and the doctor goes, great doctor, by the way, like with Phoenix Children's, we've got amazing doctors. Like if you want to see a good organization, spend some time. I've spent some time there. It's a good organization.
Wow.
It's just cool to see, like, anyways, I won't get on that. But the doctor was like, oh yeah, he might have SMA. And we're just like, oh, okay, cool. You know, like at least we know, you know what I
Right.
mean? But we didn't know what it was.
Right.
You know what I mean? We're like, at least there's an answer. And we walked out. We didn't even Google it or anything. We were just like, oh, okay, like that's cool. Like he'll walk, you know, it's fine. And the call came, I think, 2 days later. They're like, okay, so he has spinal muscular atrophy, type 2. That means that he's not gonna be able to walk. He's not gonna, I'm just like, what? That's just so crazy. So, so yeah, it's just like, it was just very bizarre.
Where were you job wise or working wise?
Call center.
Okay. Were you managing the call center?
Yeah. Mhm.
Okay.
Yeah.
So amongst, just literally coming from the dumpsters and
Yeah.
building yourself up, you get hit with this
Yeah.
news. Right.
So rare. Like we're both missing a gene, just like one gene.
Wow.
We're both missing the same gene, and that's what produces SMA.
Wow.
Yeah, yeah.
That's crazy.
There's type 1, type 2, and type 3, and like if you Google it, like first of all, don't ever Google a disease. Anyone that's listening, don't Wikipedia a disease because it's just bad. Dude. There's nothing good about it.
Right.
You know what I mean? So when I did it, it was like life expectancy is 25 years old.
Oh my
like they're not
gosh.
gonna be able to walk. Like
Right.
there's a wheelchair forever. Like you see just no movement, right? And you're just like, oh my gosh, dude, like that's what this is gonna be, And you're like, okay, you cry, you get upset, you're like, why me or whatever,
Right.
and then you're just like, okay, let's do it.
Wow.
Let's do it. And the real heroes are there's mom. Mom's great. Is taking care of him unbelievably. And the doctors, the therapists, like the doctors spend so much money, so much time and research to find some sort of cure, right, to this disease. And they've done a really good job. They've done such a good job.
All I hear from this very, situation that most would be devastated from, you just have positivity. The hospital's great, the doctor's amazing.
Yeah.
There's just all these great things.
Well, could you imagine if it was bad? You know what I
Right,
mean? Like,
right.
could you imagine being in a different country where we didn't have that?
Right.
It was like, oh, we live in an unbelievable country to where people are able to put their heads together and go to the lab and figure out a cure for this, or build a beautiful hospital where sick children go and get better.
Yeah.
That's so cool.
I love that you think this way. I mean, I can't speak for most, but I don't hear that. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
You're very thankful. You're very
Yeah.
you're looking at it from such a wider perspective
Yeah.
than just here's Reed and
Yeah.
his disability.
Yeah.
Like, who's going to help me? How can someone help me? You're
Right.
like, wow, this is like an amazing organization. And
Yeah.
Reed has such an opportunity
Yeah.
to be better.
Yeah.
To feel better, to do better.
Yeah.
So tell me a little bit about Reed.
Mm-hmm.
You're raising Reed, and
That's his Instagram
yeah,
page, by the way.
it just rings in my head. Yes, raising Reed. If you guys want to follow,
Yes, go follow it.
I don't know what it's like. I don't have a child, but these are formidable years. He's getting older. He's starting to comprehend more, right? And as you help your child see the world, what's your goal here with kind of what he has to deal with?
He can accomplish anything. Yeah.
That's awesome.
Yeah. Just make that known,
That's beautiful.
because people do,
Right.
people do with
He was playing sports, or there was something you posted. It was a while ago. He was playing some sport, and what was that?
I don't know, had to do with his hands, right?
Yeah. I forgot, and he was
Darts, maybe?
I forgot what it was. It was a while ago. It was when we were
Yeah.
starting to work together. But so that's what you're trying to have him see.
Yeah, I mean, even if it's not sports, I think dads are if they have a son, oh, I want him to play sports or whatever, and you do want that, but I think we live in an amazing day and age where coding is really cool.
True.
Yeah. Where people who build websites are really cool,
Right.
And I think that's a little bit of entrepreneurship in myself too. Is you could be, you know, I don't want you to be playing Fortnite all day, but like you could be one of those guys.
Right.
You know, that was never me really, but
Right.
you could you could be a coder. They make really great money.
Crazy money.
You know what I mean? Like, so, and it doesn't involve running or anything like that.
Right.
And like he could do a sport if he wanted to.
Right.
You know what I mean? Or if he didn't like do the sport, maybe he could coach the sport. Or maybe
Wow.
you know, there's a bunch of great opportunities.
Yeah, I think you know that your mindset in how to grow him and as he grows up is going to be pivotable for his rest of his life.
Yeah.
You know, to his perspective and filter.
Yeah.
Right. So that's why you're such a great dad.
Like one of the things he keeps saying is like, I can't do it. He's like, he can't do it. And it's like, he can't. He's right. but I'm like, don't say that. Like you can do it. You know what I mean? Like you can. Like
That's
even
awesome.
though you, like there's a way you can do it. You know.
That's huge.
But he like dropped something. And he's like try to get it. He's like I can't do it. It's like don't say. I don't want you to say you can't do it. You know what I mean?
Right.
Don't say that.
Right.
Like you can.
Wow.
It's just not easy.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I love that. That's powerful.
Yeah.
You know most of us we're all adults listening to this, you
Yeah.
know, and we don't really know what that's how
dude.
powerful that is. at the
Imagine
time.
like you're like, oh, now all of a sudden you take walking for granted. You know what I mean? Like
So
some
true.
of the stuff that you just take. It's like I get to, like I was the other day I was with my brother and his 3-year-old, and like she like fell down and got right back up. I was like, wow, that's amazing. You just take it for granted because
Wow.
not everyone can get right back up.
Wow.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Not everyone can just start to run again.
Right.
Right. So you think to yourself like, wow, that's so cool. Like that's amazing.
I love that.
You know?
Yeah, I love that you're again positively seeing
Yeah.
the positive sides of things, right?
Yeah, I think you have to.
and yeah, you have to, and that's built in you to get there, right?
Mm-hmm.
So much respect to you being a father, you making these hard decisions, like you said, that right now sometimes the right thing to do is just make sure that you take care of Reed and have that insurance that he needs, right?
Yeah.
Those are hard decisions.
They are.
And I know we talked, like you battled a lot with that, but I can see that you're putting your fatherhood first
Yeah.
before anything else.
Yeah. And could you just imagine like the regret, you know,
Right.
being like, I should have done that, but I didn't.
Yeah.
Because I wanted what I wanted.
Right.
You know what I mean?
Yeah. Yeah. And it takes a lot of self-reflection to get
Yeah.
to that point.
It feels better too. It feels so much better to do it for something bigger than you. You know what I mean? It might not feel great at that time,
Right.
but to like, and you don't want to thank you. You don't want you just know like you're gonna go to bed at night. You're just like, I did it. That's good.
Yeah.
You know,
I love
that's
that.
the better feeling.
Okay.
Yeah.
So then to kind of, we're here now.
Yeah.
Yeah, you're doing great with Luke.
Yeah.
I guess.
Wouldn't say great. I think the company's doing great.
Right.
I'm learning.
Yeah. Hey.
Yeah.
Hey, you're still here.
Yeah. No, I mean, like it's good. It's something I always say this with good salespeople, and you get someone that knows how to work a spreadsheet, they think you're smart. You know what I mean? Because
That's funny.
he's so good at like selling.
Right.
He doesn't know how to work a spreadsheet.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah, yeah,
But
yeah.
if you show one to him, he's like, oh, this is great.
Right.
You know what I mean?
Right. But you're the guy right now.
Yeah.
For him, right?
Yeah.
Which is great. So, let's talk future Ryan.
Okay.
And I know maybe you don't think too much about where you want to be in the next 5 years. Right now, maybe
Yeah.
you're just focused here. But where do you see yourself in the next 5 years? What are you looking to expect, or where are you trying to go?
Oh man, in the next 5 years, that's a great question. I think you want to grow. I want to grow. You want to grow. I want to grow a family, right? Career wise, it would probably, like honestly, like realistically, it would be at like it'd be like at a finance firm. It probably would be.
It fits you so well.
Yeah. I think it would be. I think I'd do great at it.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? It's like one of those things where it's like, I think I'd do really good at this.
Yeah.
But yeah, I mean, just like, kind of just like, and then probably having stuff on the side, but like, it's funny because, okay, so in 5 years I'd be 34, right? And that's like the age to where I think personally, this is not what other people think, but I think personally it's like, okay, you're 34, you're 35. What does your life look like? do you have a wife that hates you? Do you have kids that don't like you?
Right.
Or do you have a house that's like in debt that you can hardly pay for? Do you have a job that you hate that you have to clock out every single day of? You know what I mean? Like that's, to me, that's like hell. You know what I mean? Like that's the worst.
Wow.
So I know where I don't want to be. I don't want that. You know what I mean? I don't want that. I want some sort of freedom. Just be able to like just live, be happy. You know what I mean? Like spend it with people. Go have a drink. You know what I mean? Go have fun with people. Like enjoy your hobbies. Like laugh. Just like, cause like we got one life, bro. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like you don't want to be that guy that's like
Right.
that's in the cul-de-sac, that's just miserable with
Right.
you know what I mean? That's with a wife that hates him.
Right.
The kids are just like, that's my miserable dad. You know what I mean?
My old man.
My old man.
Yeah.
He's gonna beat me if I don't get an A or whatever. Like you don't want to be that guy.
Right.
You know, so I know I don't want to do that. I just want to surround myself with good people, you know, be pretty relaxed, be pretty chill, and just be a good person to people. Hopefully have a home, you know, maybe more kids would be great. Just one of those things. I think, you know, it's funny because you had me on because I'm an inspiring entrepreneur, right? And it's like, I'm describing the complete opposite. I'm like, but like, I don't know.
You know, this answer, you know, I think maybe there are going to be aspiring entrepreneurs that listen.
Yeah.
And then they realize like the world that they really wanted was someone else's.
Yeah.
And they see another perspective.
Sure.
And they're like, wow, like, you know, Ryan's world of seeing himself in 5 years is more of what I want.
Yeah.
And he's okay with it. And Shaq's okay with it. So I don't have to want the big yachts and mansions and all that.
Yeah.
And that maybe that's success.
Yeah.
And, you know, from me to you, like you saying that, it's just like, it's like another world to me. It's like, wow, you know, that's still success.
Right.
You're with your kids. You have a happy family. You got time.
Yeah.
You got money.
Yeah.
If you have some security with the business you're working with, who's to say that's not success?
Right.
Right.
Like, are you smiling? Are you happy, dude?
Right.
Like, do you wake up with a smile? Are you around people that you like love?
Yeah.
Do you have conversations? Like, do you get to be able to do this? Like, this is so much fun. You know what I mean? Like the fact, I think it comes from the perspective of I was behind a dumpster at one point, but like, you know, invite me, hell yeah, dude, let's go. Like, I was so excited.
Yeah.
I was like, I can't wait. Like, I get an opportunity. Someone wants to talk to me and then film it. You know what I mean? Me? Like, that's awesome.
Yeah,
bro.
you were the second person that messaged.
Yeah, like let's run. Let's have fun, dude.
Yeah.
And like just smile and just laugh and be around people and like listen to music or whatever. Like whatever makes you happy.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Don't
Yeah.
be so uptight all the time.
I
And
think
I used to be very uptight. I used to be very, you know what I mean? Because I didn't really know.
Yeah.
Right.
Right.
Then you have kids and you have a different perspective.
Yeah, I was about to say, like, perspective for you is the intangibles mean more to you than the tangibles.
Yeah, that's a great way of putting it.
You know,
Yeah.
like for you, you've mentioned family multiple times. Like, this is what you want.
Yeah.
This is like your focus. Like,
Yeah.
this is what I want.
Yeah.
Right. And these intangibles really guide your life. And I think a lot of us should take some of that wherever we go.
I can tell you this though, like being like family does mean that it's not all margaritas on the beach, right? But family does mean having your shit together as a dad.
Right.
You know what I mean? Like
Right.
you can, like I said, you can laugh and have fun or whatever, but like family, like having the right family and having a good disciplined structure of a family, I guess you could say.
Right.
That starts with like a dad that has his shit together. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like just someone that like my dad or someone that just really is leading by example, leading by faith, being a
Right.
good person, loving, not being judgmental, just teaching their kids or teaching their family kind of how they're supposed to be.
Yeah.
So that comes with, it doesn't come with, like I said, margaritas on the beach. It just comes with like doing what you say you're going to do.
Yeah, you take on that responsibility
Yeah.
yourself, and you wear that well. Like you want that. It's
want it.
not something you're avoiding.
I know I've always wanted it though.
Yeah,
Yeah.
you love it.
Yeah.
Yeah, and yeah, father is I'm a Christian, so like you're the head of the home,
Right.
You're the head of the house,
Right.
right.
And sometimes I don't feel like it.
and the days that you don't feel like it, like at the very back of your mind,
Right.
every decision you make today is going to affect your family, right?
100%,
And
yeah.
you put that first, right? And all the entrepreneurs I'll talk to and the people I've already talked to, the conversations always are towards multiple things, but
Yeah.
with you, it has strictly been focused on being a great father. And try not to cry because I grew up not in the greatest way.
Yeah.
So I respect you a lot.
Oh, I appreciate that.
It means a lot to me
Yeah.
because Reed is going to have an amazing.
Well, you're gonna make me cry, bro.
First podcast I'm crying in, but it means a lot because, I'm 30 something now and I'm dealing with the things that happened.
Yeah.
So Reed having this runway,
Yeah.
I'm sure it's not perfect every day. You have your times, but the patience, I can tell you're an extremely patient father, right?
Sometimes. Yeah.
You are,
Yeah.
and when you need to put your foot down, you put it down, right?
Right,
Like,
yeah.
you know how to navigate a child, and having that patience, that love, love is patient, love is kind, like
Yeah.
having that is so essential. And I can tell you'd give up the world for this little human being,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah.
That in itself is great success.
No, I appreciate
And
that.
amazing success
Thank you so
because you can have all the money in the world, you can
Yeah.
have all the things, but if you failed in this one thing, Reed's going to be here longer than you are,
Yeah.
right? Lord willing, right? That's the case, and you're trying to help him be the best he can.
Yeah.
So, hats off to you.
Thank you.
And whether 5 years from now you're at that firm or not,
Yeah.
from me to you, honestly, your success.
Oh, thank you so much.
Your bills are paid. You got clothes on the back, on your back. You have food on the table. Reed's fed.
Yeah.
Reed's got clothes on his back, and he's loved. Like
Yeah.
that's it. That's the icing on the
Yeah.
cake, right?
Yeah.
So,
It's hard not to love.
yeah, exactly. He's so cute.
Yeah.
Yeah.
He's adorable.
So, what would you want to leave to the listeners here? You're a different angle. You're a different place. Like
Yeah.
I have guys coming on there. There's big business guys, right? Which
Yeah.
is great.
Yeah,
but
it's awesome.
I'm trying to bring on a variety of different walks of life.
Yeah.
That all still centralized because at the end of the day, you're still an entrepreneur just within something else.
Well, sometimes your family could be an entrepreneur,
Yeah,
So you're still growing it,
it's true.
So, I mean, if there was, I think just if your listeners, which they mostly are entrepreneurs, it's a high stress environment. We've been in it, we've done it, we've been, really in it, right? Try not to take yourself so seriously. You know what I mean?
That's good.
You know what I mean? Like just like find the small things that like make you laugh, have fun, call somebody. Just don't take stuff so seriously.
Wow.
You know what I mean? Like I know it's really important to get it done, and you're gonna get it done.
Right.
Because it's just who we are. You're gonna get it done. But there's bigger stuff. You know what I mean? Like some people don't have water in this world. You know what I mean? Like,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah.
Like some people are like the best part of their day is getting water.
Wow. Yeah.
And like we're like, God damn it, I can't fucking sell this shit. It's like really,
Right.
like look at it differently.
Yeah.
Like I'm lucky. I'm really lucky.
Wow.
So and I think when you start to look at stuff like that, I think stuff comes so much easier. Like Luke said a really good thing in a meeting. He goes, things are always going to work out for me. And it was just a mindset that he tells himself. And I was like, gosh, that's such a great mindset, dude.
Yeah.
Things are always going to work out for me. That's so good.
Yeah. That's a
Instead
great
of
thing to
instead of
say.
being like the victim or the
Right.
martyr and just like, why is everybody against me? You know what I mean?
Right.
No one wants to hear that.
Yeah.
Like, hey, things are gonna work out for me. Bad day, good day, things are gonna work out. Everything's gonna be fine.
Wow. Yeah.
So yeah. I mean, I was such a tight wad. You know what I mean? And it sometimes it works, you know, especially when it works, you're like, oh, I'm going to continue to keep being like this,
Yeah.
you know? But I think when I start to just like say, hey, it matters, but like, does it matter that much now?
Right.
You know, and just, I think Reed's disability helped me with that, you know, perspective.
Yeah.
Yeah. I think, you know, Christianity helped me with that. I think, you know, other people helped me with that. Like, so just having that, like, that overall, like that, hey, it's fine. You know, you don't let your business fail.
Right.
Right. But
Right.
like, if you can't meet that quote or if you can't close that deal or whatever, like, no worries. Go on to the next one. You're just fine. Short-term memory. Be like a surfer. You know? It's like,
Yeah.
it's all right, dude. We'll catch the next wave.
Yeah,
You know what
I like that. I like that.
So
Yeah.
that also came from golf too. You have a bad hole. It's like, what's the point of talking about that hole?
Crying over it. Yeah.
Like just go play the next one. You know,
Yeah.
smile, have some fun.
That's hard.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Focused. Like don't be a bimbo. You
Right,
know?
right.
But like, don't be so uptight.
Yeah. Because
No.
it affects your next hole. It affects the next thing you're trying
Exactly.
to get
So does. And you learn it from the call center too. And I used to tell my guys all the time, like they don't know that you just got cussed out on
Right.
your next call. They have no idea.
Yeah, it's so true.
You know what I mean? Like you could have sold 40 accounts.
Right.
You could be in a penthouse.
Yeah.
Like you have the ability to just create what you want through your charisma or your tone of voice or like who you are. Like you don't have to be the guy that's out of sober living in a small
Right.
office. You know,
Yeah.
you could portray yourself as whatever you want.
I
you
love
know?
that.
So yeah. And it's the next call. Okay, that's not very like there's a good term in AA. I'm not a big AA guy, but you know, one day at a time. You know, just
True.
yeah, one day at a time.
I like that.
Yeah, so simple. It's so cliche.
Yeah. It's
So
very
cliche.
Very cliche.
But like if you like really look at it, it's like I see why that took off.
yeah.
You know,
Yeah. I mean, it goes across all walks of life. Like, it doesn't matter where you're at and
It
what's
really
going
does.
on. One day at a time.
yeah, it really does.
You
Yeah.
know, we've all been there. You
I
know,
know.
one day at a time.
Sometimes it's fun. I think you and I like we used to. We're very similar. Sometimes it's fun to get like that high stress level. Like sometimes it's fun. Sometimes
Yeah.
you feed off those endorphins. You're like,
It's unfortunate,
and
but
we
yes.
we pace back and forth. Like, how are we
Yeah.
gonna figure this out? And that's fun. That is
Yeah.
fun. But like, if it's ruining, if you go home
Right.
and like they catch that vibe,
Right.
you're doing it wrong.
Yeah, that exactly.
Yeah.
And that's always that's that balance, and
Yeah.
that's figuring out yourself.
Yeah.
Figuring out how to manage these emotions and feelings. And that's entrepreneur, but also, you know, work. You know, you can go to you have a 9 to 5, you got people yelling at you,
Oh,
you
for
know.
sure.
And you got to go home.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And try
Right.
not bringing that over to your family and your kids and everything like that.
Absolutely.
So great, Ryan. Thank you. Your insights, you know, your ability to put some really interesting thoughts to my questions.
Yeah.
I'm expecting like this answer, but then you have like this side quest that I did not think existed, and it's really, really like I can't wait to kind of listen to this over again.
Yeah. Well, if you ask me tomorrow, it might change. No, I'm just kidding.
Yeah, right. Well, I have a rapid fire round of questions.
Let's do it.
All right. Don't think too much about it, and let's see what happens.
Okay. Oh,
All right.
gosh.
First question is going to be pizza or spaghetti.
Pizza.
Nice. I like that. Coke or Pepsi?
Diet Coke.
Diet Coke. I remember that.
Gosh, it's so good.
I remember that. Yes. Are you a walk on the beach kind of guy or early morning hike?
Oh. Probably the hike. Probably neither is the answer.
Literally said that in my head. I'm like, he's gonna say none.
The hike, the mountains over the beach.
Okay, cool. Would you take $1 million up front or $15,000 a month for the rest of your life?
$1 million up front.
Okay. Why?
Because then I would take that $1 million and turn it into 2.
There you go. Simple enough. Good. For some reason, other guys have said $15,000 a month.
Now, give me the money quick. Give me that money quick. I'll turn it into something real quick, and then I'll turn it into something else real quick.
I like that.
You know what I mean?
Okay. I agree with that. That's what I would do. Football or basketball? No golf on you.
Oh boy, football.
Football. Okay. Stocks or crypto?
Oh man, this is a good one. Stop. Oh gosh,
Are you old money or new money?
that's such a good question. Stocks.
Okay.
Yeah.
Your old money.
Yeah.
If you're going to be a finance manager in the next 5 years,
There's
you're still
just-
in stocks.
It's like crypto's like you can't. What is it? You know, it's like it makes sense. Like it makes you money, but like where is it?
It's true.
It's in the blockchain.
It's true.
But
Yeah. Maybe 20 years from now might be a different conversation.
And who
but-
created like I don't know, so
Yeah,
stocks?
that's another podcast.
Right? Exactly.
Lamborghini or Ferrari?
Ferrari.
Yeah, you're definitely Ferrari. You're that old money cigar.
Oh yeah.
You know what I mean?
Silver.
Yeah. I like that. If you could have any superpower in the world, what would it be?
Ooh, cure diseases.
I know why.
Yeah, for
That's
sure.
great. I love that.
Would that be great though?
It would be.
You know what I mean? That'd
Yeah.
be so cool.
That would be really cool.
And it's like I just got going to the hospital. Like you're healed. You're healed. You're
Oh
healed.
my gosh.
That'd be cool.
Yeah, that would be really cool.
Yeah.
I love that, man. Well, I hope you had a good time.
Oh, it was awesome.
Any last final words you want to leave with the
No,
listeners?
just thank you so much.
Absolutely great.
Yeah.
Thanks, man.